hopefully these things weren't too traumatic for y'all. Hopefully, we can actually just kind of roll through. But I'm gonna tell you right now, the one that I'm talking about, I was stuck as a kid, so I'm pretty screwed up. I got really screwed up then. Anyway, so all right. Hey everyone, welcome back to I Told My Wife I'm Paying Bills. I'm Slim.
And I'm Chris.
And we are back. Black got tied up, so he was unable to make this episode. He might actually jump in a little bit later, so might be a surprise. Let's see. Let's see what happens. But if not, he'll be back for another episode really soon. The episode before this one, you should have seen the reveal. Everyone who's watching, everyone who came back, thank you so much. Today's episode is actually pretty cool, and it deals with, if you heard at the top of the show, it deals with our childhood trauma. So I kind of thought about this episode because I had a dude I went to school with. He has his own podcast. He talks about movies and things like that. And he was actually talking about one of the most traumatic events from children of the 80s. And I'm not going to talk about that event because that's actually one that Black is going to talk about. So I saw that and I was like, oh, that'd be a great show. And then, we kind of collabed and all that and talked about each other's show and was like, hey, we got to get on each other's show. So everyone, I wanted to introduce Steve from Steve's Movie and Games and Television, correct? Or is it not
Yep,
the ends in it?
that's it.
It's movies
Yep.
and games and television. There you
movies,
go.
games, and TV. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. So I put too many ends in it, but movies, games, and TV. All right. Steve, what's going on? Welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, I really appreciate being here, man. No problem.
Oh, yeah. So it's pretty cool because Steve I didn't know that you had that channel. And I knew about your other one, the Living Abroad channel, and I saw some videos on that too. But I did not know about your MGT channel, and that's actually pretty dope, man. You actually got some really good videos, and really good production on that, man. That's dope. How long have you been doing that channel?
Ooh, a little over 3 years, I believe. Yeah. Just it was like a side project for me, basically. But now it's kind of caught up to my main channel. Um, but it really just a side project because I love watching movies. I retired early, so I'm chilling. I got plenty of time to watch TV, movies, play games, and I like talking about it. And my wife doesn't want to hear about that stuff, but so much so.
Oh man, we got to get you on a gaming episode too. What system you got?
Absolutely. I had a PS5.
PS5. Okay. Well, I mean, there's all of us are about to be PC gamers. I mean, for the most part, Chris is a full PC gamer. Black, he just started PC gaming, so he's pretty much primarily PC. Actually, he's fully now because he had the Xbox issue that was on the previous episode. We kind of explained it. Go back and check it out. Um, and me, I have a PC that I can game on. However, it's not doing everything I want, so I need to do some upgrades, and I'll be a PC gamer. So, but yeah, man, we can actually probably connect if there's some other games that we can actually connect with as well. You ever thought about PC gaming?
Oh, absolutely. I actually was planning on getting a new Steam machine when it came out. Who knows how much it's going to cost now? But living down here in Ecuador, it's a little bit harder to get like maybe some of the stuff I might want. It's not impossible, honestly. I can just order from Amazon. But with the price of like chips going up and everything, I kind of held off. But I do plan on getting into PC gaming because the computer I use now for my editing and everything is a M4 Mac Mini, and like I don't know, I don't want to use that for gaming. If I want to use Steam, then I need to probably get a PC instead of using my Mac.
Yeah, I considered getting a Mac Mini too. I actually really wanted one. Actually, for all this production,
Yeah.
I wanted to get a Mac Mini because they're like workhorses. Actually, a lot of Mac
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
I originally started with a MacBook, working on all this, and upgraded to everything else. But I'm still want a Mac to try to push everything that I'm doing and everything. So that's cool.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go ahead and jump on the topic at hand because, yeah, being kids of the '80s, man, what were they thinking with some of the movies and television shows and things that they have done? If I say trauma and then I say Willy Wonka, what's the first thing that comes to mind with me saying that? What's the traumatic event that in Willy Wonka that you can think of? Which I mean, they have so many, but name one thing that you can actually think of.
It's got to be that
Uh,
tunnel.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
What
gotta
do you
be the
say,
tunnel
Chris?
scene, yeah.
Chris, look, he's about to say
I
something.
don't know, I kinda thought they all deserved what they got.
So you so you're thinking of the bratty kids, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Chris, Gremlins, what's a traumatic event in Gremlins that you would think besides the whole movie and all the weird gremlins going around? What do you think? Traumatic event.
The
Grabbing while
the
she grabbing
chimney,
too. The chimney,
the whole
correct.
chimney
Yeah,
scene.
so
Yeah.
with the 80s, I don't know what they were thinking about, you know,
Mhm.
and it's so crazy that some of these movies, they're so beloved and they're awesome. I mean, like they're excellent. They're really excellent movies because when you go back and some of them still hold up a time, you know, but they have so many different traumatic things, you know. Come on. The NeverEnding Story, and I didn't see that till I was
Yeah.
adult, by the way. There was
Really?
so many people man, there was so many people who was like, "You haven't seen it? You haven't seen it?" Man, there's so many movies that I haven't seen, like, I've still haven't finished The Color Purple start to finish. I just
Wait,
haven't.
whoa, bro, that's a whole
I
nother
just ha
conversation right there.
I
We
know, that definitely is another whole nother conversation because it's just movies, you know, I didn't grow up again. That's just how it is. The things I grew up with was whole different other stuff. But that swamp, like the whole swamp thing and the horse, what were they thinking trying to, you know, making this into a kids movie? That was insane. That
Yeah,
was
and
really insane.
they were literally
Right.
talking about that that was so traumatizing, they were talking about it on another podcast I was listening to earlier today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm. That
It's
never
it's all over the
traumatized
place.
me though. That's what's crazy. Like when the horse name was like Artax. So like when Artax died, like that never traumatized me as a kid. To me, no BS. It was just part of the movie
Right.
because
Yeah.
like we both grew up with like Charlotte's Web, right? I
Mhm.
want to say like Charlotte's Web was more impactful to me than Artax dying in that movie.
Yeah, that
Um,
was kinda sad.
that I love that movie, but it wasn't like that movie itself wasn't traumatizing me. I know it traumatized a lot of people, but like Arctic's dying, I was like, it was a horse. Oh, okay, well, shouldn't have been in
Yeah.
the quicksand in the swamp or whatever. Whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you know, we're not gonna go into details about Transformers movie, but that was the one that actually kickstarted it for me. Why, you know,
Yeah.
that was the episode that you have done. Do you remember the name of the episode it's called?
Oh man, I do so many YouTube names of episodes I
That's
can't
all
even
good.
remember. But
That's all good.
but it's
I'll
basically how
probably tag it.
Yeah, Hasbro like basically like traumatized an entire generation.
Yeah, pretty much because I was gonna go into it and saying that movie was so traumatic to so many people that I've explained in another episode myself that that movie was so traumatic that parents wrote in, called in,
Hmm.
all that, and harassed Hasbro so badly that they had to change Duke's death in the GI Joe movie.
GI Joe. Yep.
That was
Yep.
wild. That was so wild. That was so
Yeah.
wild. But all right, so with that being said, we're each going to take about a couple minutes, and we're going to talk about some movies from our childhood, select movies and television because mine is actually a television show. We're going to talk about some things, just about 5 minutes each, that actually traumatized us so badly, and that you know today we're probably fine today, but we still have you know a little bit of the scars left over from those traumatic scenes. So, since Steve, you're our guest, please go ahead and kind of give us a overview and you know kind of
Oh.
dive into the one of the most traumatic things that you saw as a kid.
Well, thank you. Number one. And for me, there was a few, but I would say, besides a few scenes in Poltergeist, um, it was definitely Pee Wee's Big Adventure. And it
Mhm.
was the Large Marge scene in Pee Wee's Big Adventure for one reason. That movie's like a comedy. It's a Tim Burton movie, but like it's a comedy and like it's kind of for kids. Yeah, a little bit. But that scene, the tone changes so much when Large Marge shows up. Like the background music changes, the lighting
Mhm.
changes, like the way her shoulders are hunched when she's talking. Everything changes in that scene. This movie's like silly up to that point.
Right. Yeah.
And there's such a dramatic shift in that scene. And then when she turns into like I don't know, the ghost or whatever, where like the claymation face and the big
Mhm.
eyes and the teeth and whatnot, that freaked me out so bad the first time I saw it. and I love that movie. I would watch that movie over and over and over again, like when it was on HBO or like on VHS, but I would always skip that scene afterwards. Like I would change the channel and come back, or like or fast forward or whatever, because like I don't know, there was something about that scene that freaked me out so bad. It didn't even give me nightmares. Poltergeist gave me nightmares, but like that scene, I don't know what it was. Like the jump scare aspect of it messed me up. And it was like I was maybe almost an adult before I could just like watch that movie all the way through.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. I feel you because I remember sitting watching that movie for the first time at home. I didn't get to see a lot of movies in the theater when I was younger. Three kids, my mom couldn't take us all to the movies and all that. But I remember first time seeing it at home. It might have been VHS, might have been on TV, but when that scene came on and then she did that whole thing with her eyes and everything popped out or whatever, I remember jumping back and falling over. I remember, and I was sitting on the floor when that happened because we watched a lot of our shows in our den, which was a kind of a transformed garage into a den, and
Yeah.
I was sitting on the floor and I kind of jumped back and fell over. Because it was a scary scene as a kid to watch. So I
Yeah.
get it, man. And the whole tone changing, it is. It's like almost a somber feel to it, of course, and dark. It's
Mhm.
really dark feeling. And then right after, like everyone kind of talks about it, whatever, and you see her because he's just like selling large Mars sent you, and you saw like I think it goes over to the picture of her or something like that, RIP or whatever picture,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
one. Like right after you have that doom 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 moment, and then it just
Yeah.
kind of everything just flips back to lighthearted again. It's just so weird.
Right,
It
exactly.
is so
Yeah.
weird, and but
Yeah, and
Tim
it's so
Burton is good at
totally
that.
different from the rest of the movie.
Correct. Tim Burton is good at
Yeah.
that. Like I could probably do a whole show, which we probably need to do a show on Tim Burton and all of his eccentricities. Just all the different movies and films and stuff like that. I mean, because I think a whole generation is just starting to discover how good of a director he is and how he can actually play with your feelings. He has I don't even know what the best way to put it. He has this magic that he does because my daughter, she liked the movie Coraline, but that is also nightmare fuel for some kids as well. So, it just depends, but he is very good at doing that. At our generation, we got Batman Returns and Edward Scissorhands. Those movies have those moments where they're actually good, they're lighthearted and all that, but then they each have like a really scary moment.
Yeah.
And then,
And
I mean,
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. Come on, Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice is lighthearted through the
Yeah.
most of the thing, but then again, he has different moments. Like it's crazy because it's not that scary, but it's scary where Beetlejuice turns into that giant tower with the hammer fist and all that. That
Right.
has like a moment that's kind of like a little scary in that. So
Yeah.
interesting. So yeah. So,
Well,
but
remember the scene
man,
where he was talking and he goes, "Yeah, they look like this," and he goes, "Wah," and all the they don't actually
Oh,
show the picture.
yeah.
You see their reaction, which is
yeah,
bad.
Yeah.
yeah. What's your thoughts about it, Chris? About with Pee Wee's?
Oh, with Pee Wee, keep in mind I was already a fan, but I expected something to happen, and so but I wasn't expecting that. So
Yeah.
I was yeah.
Yeah, that was so interesting. Yeah, man. I mean, for real, good choice. Very, very good choice. I mean, because I'm still thinking, like I said, I'm still thinking back to me sitting in that floor and falling over. So luckily, I didn't hit my head on the
Yeah.
concrete. So
So
I
yeah,
mean,
we were
it
like
was
8 years
covered.
old at the time. Like that movie came out in like 86, so like we were like 85 or
Yeah.
86.
So I saw it.
Yeah,
I'm
Oh,
so
still
I
it
was
was
older,
like
which shouldn't
yeah.
excuse it. It
yeah.
shouldn't excuse it. I was probably like 10. So
Yeah, I was gonna say 86, I was like 8. I was 18 in 86.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So but that's hilarious.
17. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you was around there
Hey,
because yeah,
one of
just
the yeah,
didn't
one
win.
of those.
Anyway, but that one it just got me. And I haven't seen it in such a long time. I'm gonna have to actually watch that again. Have
I
either of
watch
y'all
that
seen
movie all
the
the
Pee Wee
time.
Herman documentary? Have y'all seen the Pee Wee
No.
Herman
It's
documentary?
really good.
It's a
Yes,
really good
yes, it's
doc.
really
It's a
good.
really good doc. If you haven't seen it, you got to. It's really good. Yeah, and it's one of those in his own words things too.
Oh, I had been a fan
Yeah.
of that dude since the Cheech and Chong movies when he was making appearances in those. So
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Well, that was a really good one, Steve. So, We're gonna move on to Chris. Chris actually has one that I haven't seen. Steve has seen it. Black has seen it as well, but I haven't seen it. Or if I have, I'm gonna have to actually check it and look it up. So, Chris, what is your traumatic movie moment from which movie?
For me,
Mhm.
yeah, and it was a culmination of several years of cinematic trauma, starting with Jaws in '75 to what was it? Suspiria in 1977, which at the time after Jaws, I didn't think anything could scare me any worse, and then Suspiria did. And Suspiria at the time for me was what I felt what it Suspiria was so scary to me at the time that it stopped me from being scared of horror movies. I was like, I can't possibly get any more scared than I am after
Yeah.
watching this movie. This is around about the time that I'm just being able to actually tolerate horror movies. Yeah, all of a sudden, then Salem's Lot comes on TV, and oh my goodness, there's this scene where they're burying this kid, and during the burial, all of a sudden the sky starts changing and going dark, and then the grave digger who is actually supposed to be burying the dude starts acting weird a little bit, and all of a sudden he like starts gravitating towards the kid's coffin. So he sits on it, he opens it up, and the kid's body is just sitting in there. One quick cut later, and that kid is sitting up, eyes glowing, and chomps him in the neck.
Oh.
And for me, that was that was almost it was definitely almost a poop your pants moment. Luckily, I think I was on empty at the time, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to pull it up here. I'll probably go ahead and either put it on one of these sides or somewhere here, or wherever I put it, I'm going to put the little clip on there for a couple seconds here. But right now, it is looking pretty interesting so far. It's got the wind blowing and everything like that, and the dude is. I can see that he's digging the grave in the daytime too.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. And so this is a vampire movie,
Uh-huh. That's what I
and
said.
they're in
All of
the
a sudden, the
daytime.
sky got dark,
Uh-huh.
and he
Wow, that's amazing to me. You know what's really funny to me about it too is that that goes back to what I was saying a couple of weeks ago with one of our things is how the vampire movies. I love vampire movies with a different story of how things go. Why did that dude jump inside? He jumped inside the coffin, really? Inside the
Yeah.
grave?
Yeah.
Okay, that's just dumb.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's another Stephen King story.
yeah,
Yeah.
plus I don't think they didn't know that there was vampires involved at the time.
Okay.
And he
Okay.
kind of just had this calling towards the thing, and so
Mhm. Wow, that's crazy. It's insane. Man, that's
Yeah.
a scary. What's your thoughts on that scene in the movie, Steve?
Salem's Lot. So that I'm gonna be honest, like that Salem's Lot didn't scare me because by the time I saw it, I was a little bit older. Because it came
Okay.
out, I want to say like 81 or something like that. It was 80, like 81, 82. Um,
Mhm.
and around the time I would have been like 3 or 4 years old. And I was watching like now my mom, no lie, she kind of didn't have a filter about like what me and my sister watch. So we'd all be watching like the crazy American Werewolf in London, like all that. Um, so Salem's Lot didn't scare me back then. And like when I saw it, I was like really young. And then when I saw it later, like, it was a TV movie. So it didn't bother me. I seen much worse, afterwards. So the movie itself didn't scare me, but like other movies did, like other Stephen King adaptations on TV did scare me.
Mhm. Yeah. So, man, I may just actually check that one out. I don't know because, like I said, I'm just getting into actually scarier stuff now, and I don't. I had this streak for the longest time, even into my well adulthood, into my 40s. I was like, yeah, I'm not watching scary stuff because that stays on my mind a lot longer and different other stuff. But the world's much scarier now, so I know that fake scary is actually easy to watch.
Yeah,
So
yeah, true.
so I've actually been watching a little bit more scarier stuff. Some stuff I'll watch at night. Sometimes I don't. Some stuff I still wait for the daytime or whatever, just so it doesn't stay on my mind later. But that one actually looks pretty interesting, and I definitely think I might check it out because that one actor too that who plays the digger actually looks familiar. I can't think of what his name is though. I've seen him in
yeah,
something
It is
else.
actually a good movie though. It is a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just like
and like I said,
Charles.
I like to see vampire movies from a different point of view, with you know them saying, especially when they say we can actually be out in the daytime, but it's
Yeah,
because of these conditions. Why? You know, kind of like how in Blade they all
Right.
wore sunscreen and like the black helmets and stuff like that,
Yeah.
different things like that. I really
Yeah.
like that kind of storytelling where they can actually say, this is how vampires really are or whatever. I think there was another one, Dracula Untold. I think that one actually had a different telling of how vampires can actually do and be out in the day and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I may be mixing movies up though. But
Near
Yeah.
Dark
Check
is a
out
really
Night
good one.
Flyer, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go
Night
ahead.
Fly and Near Dark.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to check them out and see because that's two different ones. And see. So you know what? I'm gonna get that the lowdown on what those are about and probably check those out
Yeah.
because we can actually come back and do a whole show about vampire movies for
Yeah.
our Halloween episode. So
Yeah.
we can have you
And
Near
back
Night
for
Dark
Flyer
that
is
one,
is
another
Steve.
Stephen King story.
A
yep.
what?
Night
Night
Flyer.
Flyer is another Stephen King story.
Oh, word. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm just yeah, okay. So Stephen King, he's pretty jacked up too. Because his oh, what is it called? The Stand. The
Yeah.
Stand, man, that one freaked me out a little bit. Watching The Stand, I mean, there's a whole bunch of other ones. Stephen King had a way where, even though there's, you know, he wasn't a director, but a lot of his stories, Stephen King's stories had a way to where even um, The Dead Zone freaked me out a little bit. And
Yeah.
that director who directed The Dead Zone actually did a really good job. But I was like, man, you know, so I'm anxious to
Yeah.
see that. You know, it kind of actually kind of got me a little bit interested now. So. Very, very good pick, Chris.
Near
So,
Near Dark has also got like half the cast of Aliens in it. I
oh,
think that was
really?
like, you matter of fact, I think they probably went from one set to the other one. I know they were close. The productions were close
Yeah.
together.
Really?
Yeah.
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 You know what? I'm gonna actually put that together. I'm gonna put that show together, a vampire, all vampire show, so we can actually talk about different vampire movies. That's gonna be a really good one. So because there's so many, and I really truly like how some of these movies do put that together. So that you know that needs to be revisited. So um, but with that, I want to talk about one of the most traumatic events I had as a kid. And I think I want to say this is part of the things that actually got me to stop watching as many like scary things, which is funny. But as a kid, our family used to sit and watch movies in the den, watch TV, and like on Sundays, my mother would watch. We would all watch The Wonderful World of Disney, or if it wasn't The Wonderful World of Disney, there would always be another something, you know, any kind of family type movie we watch. Well, picture watching Alice in Wonderland in the 80s. So this Alice in the Wonderland is from 1985 and it's based off of the books from Alice in Wonderland from 1865 and Through the Looking Glass from 1871. It's based off of these. It's two separate TV movies, made for TV movies. I'm thinking Alice in Wonderland. I've seen the Disney movie and all that. I'm not really thinking too deeply about the live action movie, you know, because Disney they kitted up for a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm watching the first one, and Alice, she you know she goes through the whole story, basically how it's where she goes falls down the rabbit hole, different things, whatever. She comes back home, and you're thinking, oh wow, this is cool. She's back home already. You know, you're not even thinking about okay, that's not how the movie goes. I mean, but anyway, think about she's back home, but she realizes she's on the actual other side still. She's not home. And all of a sudden, for some reason, which is I don't understand why, I guess it's for exposition, but common sense, she just picks up this weird book and starts reading this poem. And I really should actually have the poem in there. I might have a little clip of the poem somewhere. But she starts reading this poem about the Jabberwocky. Next thing you know, this thing just pops up out of nowhere and it is this giant dragon looking, weird looking thing. And I freaked out as a little kid. I'm talking like ran out of the room, freak out. I was so scared of that thing. And it like, you know, that was truly traumatic to me. And I was just like, man, and what happened was it came it just came out of nowhere after she finished reading the poem, and the thing had like it looked like a dragon, but the way the skin was, it didn't have scales. It was just like this leathery, gross looking type skin, and it had these glowing eyes and everything. And I don't think it breathed fire; it just breathed like smoke or something. I can't remember it breathing fire. I'm gonna have to find the clip and see, but that thing traumatized me so much, and it's so funny because I remember after the first time seeing it, uh later on that night, because it came on at 8 o'clock at night on CBS. On the first one was broadcast December 9th, 1985. The second one, part two, was actually broadcast December 10th, both on CBS, 8 p.m. um I remember one of them times that because it came back throughout the show. Like, I think it came back one more time, and after the show there was something on, and they sang Dionne Warwick's "That's What Friends Are For." Do you know, to this day, every time I hear that song, that instantly pops in my head. That's how traumatic it was for me. I cannot hear "That's What Friends Are For" without thinking of that Jabberwock. You know, so it is ridiculous how badly that was. It is ridiculous,
Yeah,
and apparently that it was just symbolic of the Jabberwock was supposed to be symbolic of Alice's own fears. So
right.
that's just insane, and that it caused me so much trauma myself that I was just
Yeah,
like, okay, that was my own fears or whatever. Did either of y'all see
yeah.
that? Do y'all remember seeing that?
I'm
Either one,
not
Chris?
sure if I saw that whole if I saw that one or not that time.
Yeah,
And being I
Steve, did
used
you
to
see it?
watch those back in the day, but I can't remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Chris was a little ahead of us at the time, so he might not have been watching it. But um I remember watching it. I don't remember anything in particular. But when you mentioned that scene about the Jabberwocky, like that just it sparked something in my head. Um I don't remember it being like scary anything because I don't have any vivid memories of it. Like the stuff that scared me, I have vivid memories of. So
Okay.
yeah, it might have been one of those things where it was a TV movie and like I don't know, maybe I either didn't watch that particular scene for whatever reason or what, I can't remember.
Man, I'm gonna tell you for real, it got me. And there was so many different other clips. Well, not so many clips, sorry. There were so many moments where I was thinking as a kid that okay, I gotta watch this movie. I gotta watch this movie. My whole family's down there, whatever, But I was so scared, like I was shaking. I was hiding behind things. I can actually remember hiding behind my dad's recliner because he had in a den, and I was getting joked on by my siblings and all that, But at this point, I didn't care. It was scary to me, and I was afraid to go to sleep. I think I slept in my parents' bed that night. So but again, it was 85, so I was like 6 years old, 7,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
6
I
or
was like,
7, yeah.
yeah, I was like 7 years old. So, um, yeah, it was crazy that thing, the way they did it, and just it was amazing. It was crazy. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I definitely am going to put a clip up if I haven't already, so y'all haven't seen it. But the Jabberwock it was it was a really scary dragon. So, um, what was you about to say, Chris?
Yeah, I think I was matter of fact, I was yeah, I was in high school then, so yeah, I had probably just stopped watching because I did used to like those Disney movies on Sundays, but yeah, I probably just stopped watching them around about that time.
Yeah. Well, see, I
Yeah.
don't think that wasn't a Disney movie. That
Was
wasn't,
it?
but no, no, no.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a Disney movie because I don't
Or was it
think
one of those
Disney was on CBS. I thought it was
family?
on ABC.
Yeah, was
The
it ABC
Wonderful World of
Family
Disney
movie?
was, yeah. Well, see,
Well,
that's what
I
I said.
think
It wasn't
Disney
ABC. It was
yeah, Disney had that deal with ABC. I can't remember what year that was, in
mhm,
the '80s that they got that deal with ABC before they bought ABC.
yeah. So yeah, definitely though. But the Wonderful World of Disney, um, I think it was only on ABC. Let's
Mm,
see. Let's see. The Wonderful World of Disney. Yeah. So,
I think.
um, oh, let's say Holiday Spectacular too. But I just remember just all those different shows, and it was just like it was just that, because they had the whole thing where Tinkerbell came out on the beginning. I mean, that's of course, but they have so many different ones, and the different shows. That series ran from let's see, program current title Wonderful was used from 1969 to 1979, and again from 91 onward. So that's funny that it was from 91 onward, but it says 1979 is when it finished. I remember it in the 80s. I don't know why there's not showing
I
up in the
remember that
80s.
too, so I'm not sure. Unless it was
Okay.
just like technically named something else in the 80s.
So yeah, here's something else that it's saying. It's saying the original version of the series premiered on ABC in 1954. The show was broadcast weekly on one of the big three television networks until 1983. After a 2-year hiatus, it resumed running again in after a 2-year, until 83, and then after a 2-year hiatus, it resumed running regularly until 91. So 1985 is when it started back again after the 83.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So it did run, but it ended up going to all the different stations, different channels and stuff like that in the 80s, which is cool. And I see here 81 to 83, the Disney Sunday movie. So it probably was actually a Disney production, most likely. I'm gonna have to actually do some more research on that. But again, I'm still jacked up to the day. I cannot, and the fact that I have linked Dion's work with that now is crazy. It is insane how now every time I hear that song, I instantly think about the Jabberwocky. It was just instant. and then there's that whole dance troupe called the Jabberwockies. So anytime I hear them dancing, I'm like, okay, yeah, Jabberwockies, whatever. So, we're running up on time here, but I wanted to do quick like touches on some other scenes. The Judge Doom. What do y'all think about Judge Doom scene where he was actually revealed? To me, by the time I actually saw it, it was comical because my friend Kenny, Steve, you remember Kenny? Tall, glasses, dark skin.
Yeah.
I don't want to say his last name, but yeah. So Kenny, he was in high school for us for a little bit. I think he ended up. I think it was 9th grade or 10th grade. He got sent to Georgia. But so when we were younger, and after it came out, Kenny had actually saw it. I think he saw it in theaters, whatever. But Kenny actually did that scene where Judge Doom revealed himself. And by the time he had did it, it was funny when him doing it. It was funny as hell. So by the time I actually saw the scene for myself, all I could think of was Kenny doing the scene, and I would bust out laughing. But that was considered a traumatic scene for some kids, because he had the high-pitched voice. Remember, Eddie, when I killed your brother? I sounded just like this, and he did that really high-pitched voice. But I could see why it was scary, because his eyes popped out and everything, and he like just transformed. It was. I can understand that.
It was probably scarier than that, though. When he murdered the shoe.
Oh, and that is another one. That is another one.
Dip him in acid or something like that.
He just dipped it in acid. It's like, how did they have that? And that was supposed to be a kids movie. But
Roger Rabbit was an adult movie.
It was supposed to be an adult movie. But I mean, it was. People were taking the
a little bit.
It actually, you're right, because that whole playing patty cake. that was more.
Jessica Rabbit herself was just. Like, that's not a kid's character in a movie.
Yeah.
Correct. You're right.
Her voice actress was mostly known for Body Heat at that time. And if you've seen that movie, good Lord.
Oh, man. Here's one.
I've only seen it twice.
Yeah. Here's one from when we were all a little bit older, though. My Girl, the ending. That was messed up and traumatic. I mean, not even just the ending, but just the whole B scene in general.
Yeah.
That was like, man, come on. That was really
that one didn't bother me.
That was a gut punch, man. It wasn't scary. It wasn't traumatic scary.
Yeah. No,
but it was like a really sad and traumatic to where you're just like, wait, he's not gonna get up. And then her coming in and seeing him, and she's like, where's his glasses? Where's his glasses? He can't see without his glasses. That was a gut punch, man. That was a serious gut punch.
Yeah,
if you haven't seen any of these movies, you need to go.
It didn't hit me the same because I had like a traumatic event happen like when I lived in Alaska when I was 10, and I saw my best friend get killed. So seeing that scene didn't it didn't. I was like, okay, this isn't nearly as traumatic as what I saw in real life. You know what I'm saying? So like, that scene just didn't bother me. Yeah.
Oh wow. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense for real. Like that would probably stick with you. So especially with your childhood. And how old were you when that happened?
10.
10. Okay,
88. Yeah.
Yeah, so then there you go. That's yeah, that makes sense. So that again,
Yeah.
that was pretty much almost like real life for you. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
man, yeah, well, that's that thing right there. I remember seeing it. I think we were, like I said, a little bit older when it came out. So it wasn't to where it was that traumatic for me. It was just more where it was a gut punch and it was like little it was just it was so sad. I felt so bad for him. I really felt bad, well, for her,
Yeah.
because again, that was a close friend and all that too. She was going through so many different things. So
Yeah.
Steve, you
And
had
that was like
mentioned
Macaulay
Poltergeist.
Culkin's first
I'm sorry, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, it was like Macaulay Culkin's first movie after, Home Alone or Home Alone 2, I forgot.
Yeah,
So, like,
correctly.
yeah, of
Yep.
course, he was, like, a big star at the time, so it was
Mhm.
surprising to see him die in a movie anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was just like, how are they gonna take him out, the big star, but and then make it her
And
movie?
Right.
What do you gotta say, Chris?
not to mention they marketed that movie like he was going to be, the star of it, and
The star.
and all of a sudden, and they banked on that from his Home Alone,
Mhm.
Yeah.
popularity, and then that and The Bridge of Terabithia was two of the most traumatizing movies I think I've seen during that
Yeah.
time period.
You know what? I didn't finish The Bridge of Terabithia because of how they just made it. I think I fast forward through some of it. I can't remember, but I do remember the traumatic scene. Well, traumatic, but basically the same thing where a child dying. You know.
And they marketed those movies as kids movies, and only
Right.
any kid went to see those movies came out in tears.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Steve, though, you mentioned a couple scenes from Poltergeist. Uh,
Yeah.
the clown scene, was that one of them?
That was one of them. Like, I was never, like, really, like, just scared of clowns or anything like that, but that scene did scare me because at the time Poltergeist came out, I was, like, 82. 82? 81, 82. Um, wait, Poltergeist came out the same year as E.T., right? If I'm not mistaken. Anyway, that movie, like, I was living in Raleigh,
81, 82.
82.
and I was living, like, in the projects in Raleigh, right? So, of course, I couldn't relate to, like, this family living in this big house in California or anything like that, right?
Mhm.
But I could relate to looking at stuff in the dark. So, that clown scene scared me for that reason, not because it was a clown, just because it was a toy that, you look up in the middle of the night, you see, like, a toy in your room, right? Like,
Mhm.
that was scary. And then the way it came out from under the bed and whatnot, and jumped from behind them and grabbed them. Yeah, that was
Mhm.
scary. The scariest thing in Poltergeist for me was the tree coming through the window and eating the kid.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Because even though I lived in the projects, right, there wasn't any, like, trees outside my window, but,
Mhm.
like, back then, if you had curtains, you could see if it was I live in North Carolina, so there was lots of thunderstorms and lightning and whatnot. You see, like, shadows outside, right? And that scared the life out of me. That tree a thunderstorm and a tree, for whatever
Mhm.
reason, that combination scared me to death. And him
Yeah.
and the tree pulling the kid out and trying to eat him, like, that
Mhm.
really stuck with me more than almost anything in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. That's insane because I can picture that, and I can actually picture seeing trees at my own. So I lived in the area basically most of my life, and
Mhm.
even though we didn't have like a lot of trees, matter of fact, I think we only had two, one in the front, one in the back. I can't remember, but I do remember. But because when we first moved there, no, we had two in the front. But anyway, when we first moved there, the tree that was right in the front, that tree you could see from my window, you could see it moving in the wind at night and whatever,
Mhm.
especially because we had a street light by our house and that would illuminate the tree. And it's yeah. So I'm picturing that the you being able to see it, and I'm thinking about, so for me, it didn't scare me as badly. More so, like not because I don't even think I saw Poltergeist until I was like in high school or middle school. I didn't
Oh,
see it when I
yeah,
was
I saw it when I
younger.
was, like, 4.
Yeah, I didn't see it when I was that young. So, but that tree didn't scare me that way. The tree scared me more so because I was more worried about like when I saw it moving a lot in the window, I was more scared of it actually falling on my house and into our bedroom because it was
Right.
lined up right with my brother and I's bedroom. So that
Yeah,
scared me more than anything else. But that didn't freak me out that much. So that's funny.
yeah.
So All right, before we wrap up, really quick, tell me for each of these, I'm starting with Steve. Does that scene from Large Marge still hit like it did the first time? Does it still hit today?
Oh, absolutely not. No, I watch it now. It's just silly claymation to me now. And when I was back in '85 or whatever when it
Mhm,
came out,
mhm,
when I saw it, it was just like that was it was traumatic because maybe we didn't have the same understanding of special effects and everything like that we do now. We've seen a lot more these days. So like watching it now, no, it's absolutely nothing to me, which is kind of weird in my brain because like
mhm.
I know how much it traumatized me as a kid.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what about you, Chris? The scene, do you think that scene still hits you like it used to?
Nah,
No?
I've seen way worse in real life now, so
Yeah.
Right.
So,
that kind of
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say for me, no, because I've had to watch the clip a couple times, but the fact that again that I still find it linked to that song, it still has some kind of effect there.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. But is there one any starting with Chris here, is there one thing that you think that you saw when you were a kid really quick that you saw that traumatized you when you were a kid, but it still has somewhat of an effect similar to what I was describing? You know what I'm saying? That you have it now, it scared you so much that it linked something to something else.
uh, nah, not really. I think childhood trauma gets replaced by, like I said, real life stuff. And when
That's
you
Mhm.
true.
when
Yeah.
you've been through stuff, when you start paying bills, actually,
I mean, when you're actually
yeah,
a combat vet, yeah, you kind of got
uh,
a little bit more horrors than everything. So, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
so
But when you
yeah.
start adulting and you have to pay bills and stuff, and you're
Mhm.
traumatized, yeah, and you have to worried about whether the lights are going to be on. Yeah, that stuff is traumatizing.
Oh
It took
yeah,
her
for
place.
sure.
It took her place of all of that other stuff.
I'm gonna be honest. That you just hit the nail on the head right there. When you worried about whether the lights are coming going to cut off and stuff like that, and
Right.
oh man,
Yeah.
that week that week right, it's like, come on, I just need 2 more days. I'm getting paid on Friday. 2 more days. Yeah, that's scary. That's
Yeah.
scary.
But I would
Steve,
like to do a little
go
shout
ahead.
out to a couple of honorable mentions,
Mhm,
which was mainly the chest burster scene from Aliens and
mhm, mhm.
and the ending of the and the ending of oh my god, Time Bandits.
Time Bandits. I don't remember
Yeah.
that one.
You
I
don't
don't
remember
remember Time
Time
Bandits.
Bandits? Oh, God, that
I
movie's
don't
great.
remember. I don't remember that one.
That
It's
movie is
still a great
great.
movie, man.
Yeah, the scene with the
Yeah.
giant and everything, that movie's great.
I'm gonna have to look that up now. Steve, do you have any that is that is related? Any movies that kind of have something, triggered to where it's connected to something else? Do you have anything?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, what I mentioned before about like my friend dying, the the night the night that happened, the next morning, his brother actually came over and told me that he had passed. I was one of the only witnesses to the accident, so I had to like come to court a couple years later from Virginia because we had moved after not long after that. But anyway, um, that morning, his brother came over and told me what happened, like that he was gone, and I didn't tell my parents because I was
Wow.
like in trauma. I was in shock, and like, he was like, "Tell your parents," because we were neighbors. I never told them, and we went to go see the movie Big.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we went to go see the movie Big. So whenever I hear about the movie Big or watch it, it makes me think of that particular day because when
Wow.
we came back from the theater, his parents were outside, they had a wreath on the door, and my parents like, "Oh my God, did Sydney die?" And they went across the street and talked to the parents, and that's when they found out that I actually knew that whole day.
Wow.
And they were
Wow.
like, "Okay, well, he must have been in like complete like shock because he didn't say anything. I didn't say
Hmm.
anything." So like
Wow.
the movie Big brings up that memory.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. So yeah. Don't watch it very often then.
I don't.
you know,
I mean, I seen it a
yeah,
lot when I
don't.
was young, but I haven't seen it a
Uh-huh.
lot as an adult. Like, even though I
Right.
love that movie, like
Uh-huh.
I don't know, it just brings back bad memories.
Yeah, I can understand that. Definitely, I can understand that, man. Especially when it's something linked to something so very dramatic, you know, for real,
Yeah.
for real. Yeah. Well, me myself, again, like I said, I can probably do that one. Just that song, you know, kind of triggers that memory. I don't think I have anything else that right off the top of my head that will do that. That can actually I can actually link to any kind of other thing, but yeah, it is very interesting how you know, just the way a director will do that. You know that they have certain things to where that moment you know has that can capture that moment in time and you can
Yep.
actually have it linked to so many different things. I mean, you know, of course you can actually do the good on the good side too, because there's so many different good movies there. I can actually link the Batman to When I Got This House. You know, we were literally
Right.
sitting waiting to watch the Batman, and then the realtor called my wife when we were sitting in the theater, and she had to run out the theater, and she was like, "I got the house." So
Yeah.
it was amazing, you know, and you know, it's just different things that can happen. So it is pretty cool. Um, but we're going to go ahead and cut it off right here. Unfortunately, Black didn't make it to this episode, but he will be back for the next one, everyone. Again, we are doing fully video now. If we end up doing an audio episode, something happened, you know, whether it's camera wise or whatever. So just so you know, we are doing primarily, you know, let's say 99.99% video now. So we thank everyone for checking us out, for coming, for all the new subscribers we have. We definitely truly appreciate you. Steve, thank you so much for coming on. We're gonna have you on for another one, especially probably most likely like you know that vampire episode. Um,
Mhm.
but I want to get you on for some other episodes too. But also too, we're gonna have some interviews with people too. I'm gonna be doing a whole lot more with our podcast now. I'm trying to shift our focus a little bit. I'm not trying to do too much, but I want to shift our focus to where we have more content coming, so we can keep fresh. You know, we can keep everybody sticking with us. So um, Steve, you want to go ahead and share your socials with us? You know, so anybody can actually check you out.
Yeah. So Steve's MGT is my movie, TV, games channel. It's just mostly movies and TV. Um, So if you want to check that out, hey, I talk about movies and stuff. Feel free to comment, share, subscribe, and all that. My actual main channel is Living Loving Abroad that me and my wife share because we live outside the country. We live in Ecuador. It's about travel and living outside the country. My third channel is Schools Don't Teach This, and it's mostly just it is just educational type videos, kind of short educational videos. Um, and you can find me on like social media, like Instagram is Love Living Abroad, TikTok is Living Loving Abroad. So yeah, hit me up.
Word, word. Much appreciated. Yeah, definitely. Check him out. Check out his channels. I've watched the Living Abroad. They've actually got some really interesting videos. So I think I saw one too that it was a while ago. I think it was probably during COVID, I think. I don't know. I saw one where you and your family were playing games. That was like I said, it was an
Oh
old one though.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So because like during COVID, it caught my attention because during COVID I did that with some of my friends. We had actually played
yeah.
like games online and stuff like that over the line. So like on Zoom and stuff. But anyway, before we go, Steve, got anything else you wanted to say?
Hey, look, I definitely want to have y'all on my channel talking about some movies that I've actually held off on talking about just because I want to
Okay.
make sure I have a guest to give it like the attention that it deserves. Some classics, I'm already gonna mention them here. Like I haven't talked about, well, I don't know, I haven't talked about like Friday, right? We've all
Yeah.
seen Friday, and like I don't want to make it like a 8-minute video by myself or whatever. I want to really talk about it. So
yeah.
but yeah,
I want to get on
that's
that
pretty
one.
much it, man. I want to make sure.
I
Yeah,
want to get on the
I
Friday
want to.
one.
Yeah, I want to make sure I got some guests on when I talk about stuff like that.
Okay, word, word. Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely want to get on that one. And actually, too, the other one that you had mentioned to me about, Chris. I
Huh?
know Chris has seen it. We're going to talk about it after offline, but
Yeah.
that's Chris would be good for that one because I believe he and I had a conversation about that movie before. So, if y'all want to find out what movie we're talking about, you're going to have to go over to Steve's channel to check it out. So, um, so either way though, if you want to contact us, You can email us at toldmywifepodcast@gmail.com. You can actually follow us on Instagram at toldmywifepodcast. You can find us on Facebook. I told my wife I'm paying bills. You can actually subscribe to our YouTube page. I corrected the title now. It's at Told My Wife Podcast. You can actually find me on TikTok at SlimTaurus78. You can find our podcast page, TikTok's page at Told My Wife Podcast. Before we go, Chris, you got anything you want to say?
No, just Steve, it was good meeting you, bro, and it's definitely look forward to the next time you hanging out with us. And thank you for hanging out with us, and thank you for the invitation to hang out with you.
Hell yeah,
Absolutely.
For sure,
And
yeah.
I started looking at your site already, and dude, I can't wait to see that What About a Piece of the Action.
Yeah, I did all 3.
Oh, word. Yeah, see, that's why man, yeah, I was checking a lot of these videos out. I got to go back and watch a whole lot because I want to comment on some of them. Some of them take comment. I really got to comment on some of them, so I have to go back and watch a whole bunch. Man, I think I stayed like I don't know. I think it was almost an hour. I can't remember. It was a while. I was sitting there watching a lot back to back. But anyway, all right. So, yeah, thanks again, Steve, for real. And I can't wait to jump on your show and see some more content from you. But until then, I'm Slim.
I'm Chris.
With our guest Steve.
And I'm Steve.
All right.
And I'm
Thanks,
Steve. I'm glad to be here.
All right. Much appreciated, Steve. Thank you. And whether you're binging or button mashing, we'll catch you on the next episode, everybody. Thanks a lot.